Welcome back, grapplers. We have a special one for you today. Ever feel like you're drowning 2 minutes into a roll? It might not be your cardio, it might be your breathing. In this video, we're diving into why so many grapplers, especially over 40, gas out early, and how proper breath control can completely change your game. I'll share with you 10 tips and considerations to improve your breathing during training and sparring. Fix your gi, tie your belts, let's get this started. Breathe like you're sparring, not swimming. All right, guys, this is a special one for me. I take into account people's breathing on a regular basis. And in fact, if I was to pick on one of the biggest challenges older grapplers at white, blue, and even some early purple have is breathing. They're not consistent with the way they're breathing during the rolls. And I'm paying attention as a black belt. I'm paying attention to my opponent's breathing as we're going through, and if I see they're laboring where the breaths either they're not happening at all, which is quite hilarious, like I'm like, how is this guy not breathing? He's just going to die, right? I mean, it's going to be an easy choke or an easy submission. Or a lot of cases when they're breathing where the inhale and exhale is actually coming through the mouth, you know that's complete exhaustion, and you know they're either completely done or they haven't been able to catch their breath during the roll. So this is a really important video for those that haven't spent much time thinking about it, and I hope this is sort of the tip of the iceberg, and I'm going to give you the 10 tips and things you need to consider with regards to breathing while you're rolling. First one I want you to consider is know when you're holding your breath. Okay, start to pay attention to it. So I think my journey was middle of purple. I had taken a break for a couple of months for family stuff, and I came back and I was absolutely exhausted. And then I actually caught myself not breathing, and I really started to do my research online to figure out, you know, what are the different methods of breathing? What should I be doing? What are some of the exercises I should be doing? And I'll share some of that with you today. But I really honed in on my breathing during rolls. And that's what the first step I want you to do is start paying attention. So some of you are knowing like, yeah, I'm really exhausted, or, you know, my hands and arms are really exhausted and they're shaking and I can't even feel my forearms at the end of a roll. All that leads to, are you breathing properly from beginning of the roll to the end of the roll, right? If your muscles aren't getting the oxygen it needs, they're going to fail. You're not going to be ready for that next roll. You're not going to be able to do as many rolls. So really take inventory of whether or not you're breathing and what spots are you having trouble breathing in. Is there specific situations that you're just holding your breath because you're anxious or you're not sure what to do, so you hold your breath, or you lose your breath quickly? Start to analyze, why are you losing your breath quickly? It's not always because, you know, you're fighting a younger person. Yeah, the intensity, the heart rate's going to go up, but there are breathing systems and breathing patterns that you can use that can definitely help you. Exhaustion's going to happen no matter what, but why not prolong it as much as possible? Number 2, exhale on effort. This is an interesting one. The thing that you want to consider, and you can even do it as you're drilling. So let's say you're going for a big pass, or you're going for a big double or a single. You're about to do an explosive movement. The recommendation is to blow out, exhale, right? And go into it, right? As opposed to inhale, where that could be prohibiting. Yes, we may be inhaling when we're lifting a lot of weight. We're not lifting a lot of weight. We're throwing our weight. We're throwing our body into some movements. So you want to exhale as you're exploding through. Don't forget to inhale right after, but to exhale will give you that bit of explosiveness. So look at that. Train that while you're drilling. Okay? Don't be afraid to make loud noises in the room if you want to emphasize it. Okay? Match breathing to tempo. So there's different breathing methods that you're going to do, and obviously it's going to be different whether the tempo is sort of that old grindy style versus the explosiveness, or you're both kind of going crazy and there's a lot of movement for a brief amount of time. The breathing's going to change and the tempo of your breathing is going to change. So let's review the main categories of breathing. There's the breathing inhale through the nose, exhale through the nose. Okay, usually that means that you're resting and there's not a lot of movement. The younger you are, the more trained you are, the more that you train with the inhaling and exhaling through the nose. Obviously, that optimum. You'll be able to do it longer. You'll be able to do it with a bit of a higher heart rate. So if you look a lot at the higher level BJJ guys and UFC guys, you'll see some of them, they're at the beginning of the fight, they're breathing through the nose and breathing out through the nose. And at the end of the fight, they're doing the same thing. As an older grappler, whether you have a lot of experience in sports, that might be a challenge, okay? The second category is breathing in through the nose and breathing out through the mouth, where you're getting maximum carbon dioxide. This is probably the most normal one. As the pace begins to increase, that will probably be the norm for us older grapplers, okay? Big breath out, okay? And then if you hear the third category, which is the in through the mouth and out through the mouth, that's exhaustion. That's not good. Okay, so if you find yourself going, you really have to figure out what's going on and find your pace and start to force the breath through the nose and out through the mouth. You may even try, one little tip there is, okay, multiple breaths out will definitely help. So you need to figure out where you are on that level. You can adapt other patterns, other methods that you'll hear about or read about, but those are the three main categories. Optim is in through the nose, out through the nose. Most normal is in through the nose, out through the mouth. In through the mouth, out through the mouth. Bad, you're exhausted. You need to figure out how to get to a more comfortable state. So back to the tempo, you're going to have to adjust. So if you're in a slower part of the roll where you're grinding something out, that's your opportunity to slow down your breath, okay, and get ready for the explosiveness. And if you're in charge of the explosiveness, you can really start to amp it up when you're exploding and then get back to that rest state. Okay, that's very, very important to consider. Practice breathing breaks. Okay, so I kind of mentioned that in my previous description. Breaks. You got to find breaks. As an older grappler, you're not just going to keep attacking, moving and attacking and jumping all over the place. There's going to be a little bit of pressure passing, pressure situations or scenarios where you can rest. Let's say you get in top of side control. That's a perfect opportunity for an older grappler to just catch your breath, listen to yourself. Are you breathing? Checking, okay, let's go. Now we're ready to explode to the next movement. Look for those opportunities. You're in your opponent's close guard, or you have them in your close guard. You have them in any of your guards. Usually you're going to find a spot where you can hold it and catch your breath for a couple of seconds. Seek those positions out. There's a ton of them. They call them the rest positions, and they're the only way for the older grappler to really catch their breath. You can't be going at 100 miles an hour from beginning to the end of a sparring match. Close your mouth between exchanges. Okay, so I alluded to that earlier as well. If you catch yourself breathing in and exhaling through your mouth, that you're in trouble. You have to start addressing that from a breathing perspective. You need to find those little bit of comfort zones that we were just talking about to catch your breath. Even if you're in a bad position, don't be constantly moving and having a panicked breath. You need to kind of frame up, catch your breath, okay, and settle it down. Close your mouth. Try to get it. Try to find, use different techniques. Okay, we want to be able to catch that breath and recover quickly so we can keep moving forward. Number 6, do breath work off the mats. So it's a great opportunity while you're drilling, while you're sitting on the side, while you're at home, while you're watching this video, to do a little bit of breath work. So it's just like anything else. Believe it or not, it's a skill. Yeah, we take it for granted that we're breathing and we're alive and seems to be working. But to improve on anything, just like running, we naturally are able to run. But to become a faster, more explosive runner, you've got to train it. You got to find the tricks. You got to find the techniques. It's the exact same with breathing. So take any opportunity that you have to work on different breathing techniques and find out what works best for you. Number 7, don't forget to breathe when you're stuck. This perhaps, man, maybe this should have been number 1. This is the biggest failure that I see for older grapplers when they get in a bad position. Let's say they get under side control. Let's say they get on the bottom side of mount. There's this panic that happens where they're holding their breath and yet constantly moving and using their muscles to try to explode out of it by holding their breath. That's the worst. That's the most exhausting. And then they dread those positions. Yeah, you dread those positions because nobody likes a bad position. But when you look at the pros, like, they drill in bad positions and they don't panic. And why aren't they panicking? Well, number 1, they're going to work the technique to get out of those bad positions. But number 2, they're breathing. They're fine. It's like anything else. If they get caught, you tap and you start all over. Just calm down. Catch your breath. Sort this out. If you're in a bad position, don't panic. Yes, the first half second to a second of getting into a bad position is your optimum time to get out of that bad position. But if you're there for past the second and they've had time to kind of secure that position, well, you have a moment or two to catch your breath. Okay, frame up, make sure everything, you ball up, whatever you need to do depending on the position. Make sure all your arms and limbs are in the right spot. Catch your breath. That is a critical one. And again, back to one of the old tips is take inventory if you catch yourself not breathing. What position was that? How can I make sure I do that in drills? So next time you have an opportunity to drill with your partner, hey, I'm not breathing when I'm in bottom mount. Can we just start in that position? Let me work on my escapes and focus on the breathing. This is a very, very important tip. Number 8, stay relaxed until it's time to explode. So there's a lot of stop and go in Jiu-Jitsu. The older grappler, even more so than the younger ones, right? Obviously the younger ones like to go, 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 go. But you'll notice that even at the pro level, the younger guys, not all of them are exploding and going 100 miles an hour. There's a lot of slowing down and then explosive bursts. You've got to time that from a breathing perspective. You're in charge. If you're attacking, if you're about to explode out of a position, or if you're about to explode to a position, you know it's coming. You're making that mental decision. So adjust your breathing accordingly. Prepare for that. Prepare for that tempo increase. Prepare for that tempo increase to last quite a few seconds. And then as it's going on and you feel yourself getting exhausted, find the rest position, catch your breath, maintain your breath. Take note of that. Take inventory of how the breathing is going for that particular role. Use positional rounds to train breath awareness. So I alluded to that. When you're drilling, you should be focused on your breathing. Take note of it, take inventory of it, especially when we do positional rounds. Actually, every aspect of jiu-jitsu practice, you should be thinking about your breathing until it becomes second nature. It took me quite a while to realize that there were a lot of instances where I wasn't breathing properly, and I focused in on it. So what's happening now to me as a black belt, because I spent that time focused on breathing, I don't get as tired during rolls, especially with some of the younger guys. So, people say to me, man, your cardio's really good. Well, number one, I've been doing it for over 20 years now, so I know where to be safe in certain positions. I know I can see certain patterns coming at me, and I deal with it. But number two, the breathing. I'm always focused on the breathing. I breathe very loudly, so sometimes I use that as my cue to myself. It's like, yep, You're breathing. Okay, good. Keep on going. We're working here. Okay, this kid's going to come at you. Let's make sure our breath is good. Let's make sure our frames are good. He's going to try this. And until it becomes second nature. But even when it's second nature, you just heard me allude to, I'm still checkpointing it as one of the things I need to make sure I'm doing during a roll. And number 10, perhaps the most important one, recovery breathing between rounds. Not enough people do this. What you'll see some older grapplers do, especially after a particularly hard round, they'll go to the side of the mat, lay back on the wall and catch their breath or slump over. I see some people laying on the ground. You need to take that opportunity to recover. I'll give you a couple situations why it's so important, where it's applicable. So you've had a hard round, you fall to the side, you're exhausted. But don't just lay there and, not think about your breathing. Do you want to roll the next round? Do you really need to take that round off? So, sit up, take your breaths. The first, you've got to get to that comfort state where in through the nose, out through the nose. You might not be able to do that right away. You might start in through the mouth, out through the mouth, but you need to slow down the breathing. Take deeper breaths. Make the exhale 3, 4, 5 times as long, whatever you can do. And you slowly move from mouth to mouth, through nose to mouth, to nose to nose. When you get to nose, you're in a recovery state. Sometimes closing your eyes helps. Some people say walking around with your arms. I never felt the difference on that one. So what I kind of do is I go on my knees and I sit up and I try to focus in on my breathing. So that's the example at the gym. You see many of us do it on the competition floor as well. Remember, you might only have 5-10 minutes between rounds, so you need to recover. And the only way to recover is not to lay there and not do anything. You take that 5-10 minutes and you breathe. You need to get oxygen to those muscles. You need to move the fingers and get the feeling back. You need to address the lactic acid. Without the breathing techniques, you just simply won't recover for that next match. So all that starts in the gym, and you need to exercise it. Do your own research. I hope this video has helped some of you. Go back and listen to it again and see. I guarantee every time you listen to this video, you're gonna catch something different. Do your own research. I definitely recommend doing your own research. Get to the gym tonight and really go back and figure out, am I breathing properly from beginning to end? Thank you guys for joining me. I appreciate all your support. Have a great day.